Hi readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. And today we're going to talk about my October book haul. And it's pretty good sized. So let's get started. I'm so excited. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. So the first book I'm going to talk about today is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. This was my book of the month club pick. As you can see, I love this cover. It has a little pool and it's like nobody's in it, and that looks creepy. And it's also a Read with Jenna selection, and I'm not sure who Jenna is, but all right, I'll figure that out. Maybe you can tell me. I just don't know. The reason this one intrigued me is because it's a thriller, and because I'd never heard of this author, and because I loved the description of this one. So, and my daughter helped me pick my book of the month selection, and she actually pointed it out to me. I hadn't gone far enough, deep enough to look at the description. So it follows a couple who rents a really nice home in the countryside in New York, outside of the city, to have a little vacation getaway. And suddenly this couple shows up at their door and says they own that house and that there's a power outage in all of New York City and chaos is ensuing, and there's nowhere else to go, and they had to come back to their home for shelter. So there's no power, no internet, no access to outside sources, and they're not sure if they should trust this couple and believe them, or if this is something a little devious and scary. All right, let's do it. If you're reading this too, let me know. I would love to read it with you, and that probably will be very soon. Then, through the generosity of one of my subscribers who I adore, Tammy she sent me this. She finished it and she sent it to me because she thought I would like to read it. Another Day in the Death of America by Gary Jung. This has great ratings, over 4 stars, almost 4.5 stars. And the premise of it is really something that I enjoyed. This is nonfiction, so I may be shifting my nonfiction November now. I'm not sure, but this follows a number of people on one particular day, and that is November 23rd, 2013. Because it's set in November, and because it's a chronicle of 10 short lives. You hear my spooky clock? Sorry, did not even think about that when I started filming. It's a chronicle of 10 people's lives. I'm not sure what happens to them and how this influences his work in this piece, but I'm thrilled that Tammy sent it to me and really fascinated by the more I learn about this book. And so I'm really thinking about replacing one of my nonfiction November picks with this. Thanks again, Tammy. I appreciate this so much. Thank you. Okay, little free library. Oh my goodness, my little free library was filled with amazing stuff. So this time I picked up, and I'm way behind in these, but this time I picked up a hard copy of Chaos by Patricia Cornwell. This is book 24 in the Kay Scarpetta series. So I'm slowly but surely adding these back to my library and getting to a place where I can pick up where I left off. And so I don't know much about this, and I really don't want to know much about this because I'm so far behind that if there's a major plot point that is revealed in the synopsis, I don't want it to be spoiled. But suffice it to say, Kay Scarpetta, forensic psychologist, investigates serial killers, and they're always creepy, twisty, and enjoyable. This one's not quite as long as some of hers are, so maybe as she went on in the series, she didn't write such big ones, but I'm happy that they had this, and it's in great shape. I really appreciate when I get a hardback in super great shape in a little free library. Somebody Oh, Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures is jealous of our little free libraries here because she just doesn't have them in the same quantity and in Turkey where she lives. And I'm really blessed to have so many around me. And if I go to New Orleans on a little free library adventure, holy cow, there's just tons of them. You can't even imagine. Another one I picked up, a little hardback of Mistletoe, The Mistletoe Murder, which is a series of short stories written by P.D. James, who I adore, murder mystery writer, has some Agatha Christie-like and some other vibes from some other British murder mystery writers. This has 4 stories in it, and they are The Mistletoe Murder, A Very Commonplace Murder, The Boxdale Inheritance, and The 12 Clues of Christmas. What a perfect thing for me to read. Short, sweet, short stories, creepy, murdery, but, and I love this cover. It's a little mistletoe in black. Super. So also in great shape. So happy when I found it. Next to it was a Frederick Bachman, A Man Called Ove. I don't know. I should know because I have a Scandinavian heritage, but this one is intriguing to me and has been for a while. My daughter read it. Some other people I know read it. And I do love Bachman. And I do have a few of his to get through on my shelf. But what intrigues me about this is it's about a curmudgeonly old man who's a neighbor of these people who just moved into their home. And I guess they're maybe trying to be really kind and supportive maybe and make friends with him, and he's maybe resistant. I'm not sure, but I've heard some people love it. I've heard it's a slow burn, which some of his maybe are, but I love the way he writes. I love the character development that he creates, and I kind of have a curmudgeonly old neighbor, so this might be really fun for me. So I'm excited to add this to the stack of Bachmans, and I want to get to those really soon too. And the last little free library pick that I found is The Passage by Justin Cronin. Now, here's a funny thing. I was confusing the plot of The Stand with the plot of The Passage because I put them both on a 5-star prediction read list a couple of years ago and didn't get to either one of them in that year, but I started both of them. I started to confuse this plot with The Stand because I thought The Stand had this little girl in it and this guy that was trying to protect her. No, that's The Passage by Justin Cronin. And what was also synchronistic about this find is that I had just been in a Zoom meeting with someone on a team in a company that I do some contract work for. And we were talking about creepy, spooky books because I was reading creepy, spooky books this month. And she said, this book has a scene in it that she still hasn't forgotten and can still make her uneasy when she's in her house at night in the dark. That was enough to remind me that I have this on ebook and I had started it and not finished it. Of course, I'm going to have to start again because, you know, that's been too long ago. And then one day I was walking to get ice cream with my girls and my partner, and this was in the little free library. Can you imagine how delighted I was? So now I have a physical copy of it. This one isn't in the best of shape, but that's okay. I probably will pass it back along when I'm done. And then I have it on ebook as well. And I'm probably able to find it on audio. You know, these bigger books, these bigger, chunkier books, when I can read them in a number of ways, and my son will say, you're not reading when you're listening to them, but when I can get through them in a number of ways, I actually do better and I actually finish them faster than I would normally. So this one is pretty small print. Let's see. And I don't want to spoil anything. It's almost 800. Nope, that's the reader's guide, but it's almost 800 pages. It's 775 pages. Yeah, it's a chunker. I don't know. I'd like to get to this in November, but I haven't set my TBR in stone yet. And my TBR may not be set in stone. And then the last one I won, I did a book chat, book launch book chat with someone who I never had heard of before, but a coach friend of mine had worked with her years ago. And she was hosting a book chat for this author to launch her book. And I think she did a series of book chats. And I attended one night on Zoom and met her. Her name is Amy Lee. And I won one of the copies she was giving away of this book. I got to pick actually from the books that she's written. And so I picked Snow in Vietnam, which is a novel based on her family's story. Now, this is a PNWA Literary Contest finalist for 2018. So it's an award-winning novel. I think this is her first novel, but I'm not sure. So this is the story of a family, a woman in particular, growing up in Vietnam. She falls in love with an American GI, but she ends up having to marry a Vietnamese man. And then some terrible things happen to her, and then the war happens, and she's forced to flee from Vietnam. And so it's the story of her journey from Vietnam to the United States, ultimately. But I don't know that she makes it to the United States in this complete novel, but that's her goal. So the interesting thing about this is it honors the memory of her mother, who actually experienced many of these same things. So it's, you know, it's a novel, but it's based loosely on someone's true life story, or the stories, maybe a compilation of stories of the Vietnamese boat people. And what's also interesting to me is Amy started her own publishing company. So she is the person who has created this publishing company, which is, hold on, let me tell you. This is a first edition. And who published this? I know she told me she inscribed it for me, which was, whoops, we have bad lighting today, guys. We have a storm coming. And I will have to find out the publisher, the name of the company that she has. Maybe this one was before she created that publishing company, but it's an indie company. So she's looking for authors and novels to publish, and she's a delightful person. And I'm super thrilled to start with this one. So there's another one called Snow in Seattle, and she's also written a couple. I think she's written 3 or 4 now, but this is the one that I chose, and I'm happy to get started on this as soon as I can. Also love that cover. Beautiful, beautiful cover. And I just think that's a great diverse read for me, to read a novel about a country that I don't know a whole lot about, especially, I mean, I know about the Vietnam War, but I don't know a whole lot about the experience of Vietnamese people who were forced to leave their country and try to immigrate into other countries, and the way that they were supported and not supported, and treated and not treated well in different countries along the way, is a tragic and a story of resilience for sure. So I love to honor people's stories about their lives and what they went through. And I am excited to share Amy with you and see if that's something that you want to take a look at too. Those are the books I hauled in October. I do have a book outlet order of 3 books coming. I don't know when it's going to arrive, and I really need to get this filmed so that I can get it edited and uploaded, because I have this storm and I have some other stuff happening, but I will add those to the November haul, regardless of whether they come at the end of October or they do not. Sometimes Book Outlet is fast and sometimes Book Outlet is slow. So I haven't ordered from them for a while, but I was looking for something in particular and I found it. So I hope you had a great haul month in October. I'd love to see and hear what you read. If you've read any of these, I'd love to hear that too. I know my friend Lisa also told me about The Passage and how creepy parts of it were. So I am still kind of in a mood to read some creepy stuff. So I may add that to November and try to plow through all the books that I want to read now. I had a really great reading month in October. I can't wait to share that with you when I'm complete with it. I'm still wrapping up. I have a few more days to try to wrap up a few books, and I'm so happy with my October reading experience. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want a notification of every time a new video is posted, you can just click the bell in the top of the browser window and you will get a notification every time I post something. Typically 2 to 3 times a week, unless something really crazy is going on for work, is my usual pace. And sometimes in certain holiday seasons, that picks up a little bit. So we'll see. Hope you're well. Hope you're safe. And I'll talk to you soon. Happy reading. Bye.